Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaoatman.com. Welcome to another episode of Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness, the weekly podcast devoted to all things spirituality and self-improvement. I am so delighted you're here with me today. Today's topic is kindness. Usually before I do a reading or a podcast episode, I ask, what do people really need to hear about? And twice this topic came up of kindness, and I believe that there's a double meaning here. The first is self-compassion and kindness to yourself. We are so hard on ourselves every single day. We beat ourselves up for many reasons. The other is having compassion and kindness towards others. The world is so crazy and chaotic right now, and the energies are so incredibly heavy. Kindness is needed. It's easy to look around you and see all of the hate and the negativity and all of that bad energy that's out there right now because it's everywhere, right? We see it on social media. We see it in the news. We're seeing it everywhere. But the universe wants you to know that that is not the way that most people think or feel. I truly believe that social media has emboldened people to spread hate. People say things online they would never say to your face if they weren't hiding behind an avatar. And so the universe wants you to focus, instead of all of on the negativity, to focus on kindness this week. There are still so many good, kind people out there. But it's easy to focus only on what we're seeing the most, which is negativity, which is people who are cheering for awful things, for things that are crimes against humanity, in my opinion. So how can we focus back on what's truly important, which is spreading kindness? The universe wants you to know that you are like a drop in the ocean. And so it may not seem like very much, right? You may think to yourself, if I'm just a drop in the ocean, I'm not making much of a difference at all. But what happens when you drop a drop of water into a bigger pool of water? What happens is that drop creates a ripple. That ripple then travels and creates even more energy. So you may feel like, I'm just me, I'm not very big, I'm not making a difference. But you make a huge difference in everything that you do every single day. And kindness truly does matter. I have been around people before that I worked with who were so negative. And it's easy for that negativity to rub off on you, and you don't even realize it. I would realize, and this was, a long time ago, when I first got out of college, I worked a job I really did not like. And I realized that every day I would sit there in this cubicle with all of this negativity surrounding me, and I would just be so crabby when I left. What I was not understanding, because at that time I didn't know anything about energy, I didn't understand that I was absorbing all of that was around me. And if we want to live a happy life and to enjoy where we are, right? We need to surround ourselves with kindness. And I know it's not always easy because maybe you have the same situation. Maybe you're surrounded by negative Nancys at your work. It happens. Maybe it's in your family. Who knows? We cannot control what other people do, but we can control ourselves. And the interesting thing about it is when you show kindness and you spread kindness, it is like a ripple effect. Yeah, it might annoy some people because those people are unhappy in their own lives. And so to see you being kind and your kindness, it might annoy them. Don't worry about them. What it will do, and unwittingly will do, is inspire others around you. They'll say, why does that person always seem so happy? They seem joyful. I want more of that. It's easy to get bogged down, and I'm guilty of it myself. The last couple of years at work, I just have been kind of negative, and it was really because of the type of environment we had been in under the leadership we had. It was a little bit hard to be there because it was kind of toxic. And when I tell you that the change this year is just amazing, It makes such a difference. But I realized that I didn't have to let that toxic energy get to me, but I did. And that was my own fault, because I need to realize that I am the creator of my own energy, of my own environment. It's up to me to keep that space around me free of the negativity. And I'm not talking about toxic positivity where you just look at everything and you're like, oh my gosh, life is great, even though I'm looking at a train wreck in front of me. I'm not saying that. You're going to have your moments, but what I am saying is don't let others influence how your day goes. If someone comes up to you and is rude and nasty to you, let it go. That's on them. That has nothing to do with you. I always say what other people think of me is none of my business. And you might think of it as being naive or also perhaps being a little bit ignorant, but ignorance is bliss for a reason. You don't have to know what everyone else thinks of you all the time, because if you spend your life worrying about it, then you're going to make yourself upset. People will either like you or they won't, and there isn't much you can do about it. I always feel like the people that don't like you, they're not worth your time anyway. The universe brings people into our lives for a reason. They either teach us something, we learn lessons with them, they're blessings to us, we grow. It's all for a reason. What the universe wants you to focus on right now is allowing more kindness in your life. And I think that starts with self-compassion. We're going to make mistakes. We all do. We're humans. I am a perfectly imperfect person sitting here doing this podcast telling you that I've made more mistakes than I'd like to count. I've had to apologize for my mistakes. I've had to live with them, but I make them. What I don't do is dwell on them. I used to, but what I learned is that does not do anything but torture me, and it's not helpful. Making mistakes is all about growth and learning. What did you learn from it? Great. Now don't do that again and move on. What can you do differently next time? That's really what it's about. The human side of us wants to dwell on something, feel bad about it, and that's because growing up, society would use guilt to make us fall into line, right? You have to get good grades, because if you don't, we're going to be very disappointed with you. Parents mean well, society means well sometimes, but sometimes the lesson that we take is not the right one. What we learn is to beat ourselves up over things that are out of our control sometimes, or things, yes, maybe we could have done that better, but you're a human, you're here, you're trying, you're just learning. You don't start walking by just getting up and walking. First, you have to learn to crawl, and then you slowly start to learn to stand up, and then you start to walk. And that's what everything in life is. We're taking things in steps. We're learning in steps. So to expect yourself to be fully advanced and never making a mistake is ridiculous. And perfection is just another form of fear. Don't worry about making mistakes. You're going to. Just let it go. You don't have to be perfect all the time. That's not a real thing. It's just an illusion. If we look at other people's lives and we see, oh my gosh, their life is so perfect on social media. No, it's not. Most people don't put all of the bad things that happen to them out there. And if they did, what a draining feed that would be to watch. People don't share their misery. They share their happiness and their joy. So when you look at people, don't look at them from a place of envying them. Instead, know that you have moments of joy and happiness in your life too, and it's up to you to cultivate even more. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Keep your eye in your own lane. It's time to live in the present and to be kinder to yourself. When you make a mistake, and you will, so will I, don't dwell on it. Ask yourself this question: what did that teach me? What did I learn from that? Could I have done that differently next time? How? Okay, thank you for teaching me that lesson. I don't need to learn it again. I know what I'm going to do better next time, and let it go. When we hyper-focus on what's wrong, that's all you're going to see in your life, and you're going to create feelings of guilt and shame and regret and anger and all the things that aren't serving you. So let it go. Say, that was interesting. Thank you for the lesson, and now I can move on. It's simply there to teach us. It's time for you to start showing yourself more kindness. I don't know why, women especially, I know I have men who listen to this podcast, but women, we for some reason feel like we have to take on the world. We are mom, wives, homemaker, teacher, career woman, whatever else. We play 50 million roles in our lives, and we're going 90 miles an hour. And then we get to, especially like in my personal journey right now, middle age, and things for me have slowed down a little bit, but you're exhausted and you're thinking to yourself, I have to be X, Y, and Z to all of these people. I have to be the best that I can be. And it's overwhelming. We put so much pressure on ourselves to do all of these things when the truth is all we have to be is the best version of ourselves. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do everything. We need to learn to set boundaries and start saying no when it doesn't feel like a soul yes. And you need to tell yourself you are doing the best that you can do. When you hold on to those emotions, it shows up as physical illness in the body. It shows up as aches and pains. It shows up as disease. The body keeps the score. And we see that in so many ways. When you hold on to feelings like anger and resentment, it shows up. If you're not processing it, it's going to show up in one way or another. I've seen that more when I do Reiki with clients and they come in and I connect to their bodies, to their energy. And I can tell them symptoms that they're experiencing before, like they don't tell me anything before I see them. I just connect. And then when I go over what I got with them, they're usually like, oh my gosh, how did you know that? Because I don't have any way of knowing that if I haven't talked to you, and I don't have time to go and stalk anyone's social media. Most of the time I don't know my clients. And so when I see that and that picks up, I also know where to connect it to. It's connected to this emotion. It's connected to that event. And when we clear those things start to clear up in your body too. It's amazing if you don't know much about energy, but that connection, the mind, the body, all of that, it's connected. And when you are holding on to things that aren't serving you, it's going to show up. It just does. It's amazing to see how that is all connected. But the universe wants you to show kindness to yourself. And the universe wants us to spread kindness out there because it is a ripple effect. When you are kind to yourself and when you're kind to others, we're raising not only your own vibration, which raises your mood and your energy and all the things, you're also raising it for the entire collective, which I think we can all agree is really needed right now. The world looks like such a dark place, but it's really not. The light is still always there, but it's up to us to show that, to shine it, to be an example so that others can see the world is not a dark, dreary place. There is still kindness here, and we can be examples of that just by living our lives. And I wanted to pull some cards for you today. So I chose 3 different decks. And the first deck that I chose was this. It's an Inspire Now. It's daily affirmations. And the card that came out first off was kindness and empathy, which is you're going to laugh because 2 cards on kindness came out. And that was the message the universe wanted me to give you. And I always know it's never a coincidence, right? The cards fall perfectly. But it says, I am kind and caring. Empathy is the ability to walk in someone else's shoes, to see the world through their eyes, and to understand their perspective. It's not about fixing people's problems. It's about being there for them and understanding what they are going through. It allows us to connect on a deeper level and find common ground. Kindness is the mark we leave on the world, and it echoes through eternity. And be kind to difficult people. They need it the most. That is so hard to do. I've had difficult co-workers in the past, And do you know how hard it is to be kind? And I tried to show kindness. Now, it was not always reciprocated. You can't control that. But don't let it dim your light and keep you from trying. And then we have success. My potential to succeed is infinite. Success begins at the end of your comfort zone. It's not about being the best, but about becoming better than you were yesterday. It's not for the chosen few, but for those who dare to dream, believe, and take action. It's about the journey, the lessons learned along the way, and the person you have become. Is that not perfect? We were just saying that. I was just saying you don't need to be perfect. It's about the journey. It's not about the outcome. What are your strengths and positive qualities? Acknowledge your accomplishments and take pride in your successes. Exactly. And then we have self-love. I love myself and being the light that others are drawn to. Yes, you need to be the light. Self-love is not selfish. It's necessary for your well-being and growth. Take care of yourself like you would take care of someone you love. You are a work of art, constantly evolving and growing. Embrace the masterpiece that you are. Exactly. I always like to imagine that I'm taking care of my little inner child, right? That little girl that I was, that maybe I didn't get the praise that I needed when I was younger. I can give that to myself now, and it's not selfish. Treat yourself today as something that brings you joy and makes you feel special. Embrace the fact that you deserve to experience self-love. And if that's one of the areas you struggle with, I help people with that all the time. And I have an online course, the 10-day intensive self-love course. It is part videos from me, part writing exercises, other tappings and exercises to help you work on building that self-love because it's so important. That's where it starts. If you're interested in that, you can go to my website, melissaoatman.com, and just check it out. I highly encourage you to look at that. And I've tried to make it affordable for everybody because I think it's so important. The next deck that I chose was Angela Rose's deck. And she has two, and I pulled from both of her decks. But again, the first one that came out was kindness. No coincidence. One way to show your self-love is to practice speaking kind and loving words to yourself and others. Words hold energy. List 3 words that describe yourself. Make sure that they are loving and kind words. And if you're having trouble, ask someone who knows you well. You'd be amazed and surprised at what people will say to you that you never even realized about yourself. There's a mantra that goes with this card, and it is, I speak kind words to myself and others. The next card is come home to you. Life can feel challenging when you're faced with something hard. In the discomfort of situations, it's normal to want to escape or run from it. Be with the discomfort. Be with the grief. Be with the emotions that want to move through you. You are not alone. It will get better, but first just be with your soul. This is what I was talking about when I said the body keeps the score. If you don't work through those emotions are going to work through you one way or the other. And usually it shows up as disease or as something negative in the body. Time to work through that. The body is trying to tell you something. It's time to listen. Do you need to cry, be angry, laugh, journal, play, or sleep? Then do it. Be with you. The mantra that goes with this card is I am not alone, I am safe, and I am loved. And then we have I deserve. You deserve to enjoy an amazing life that brings you joy and abundance. You were born worthy. There is nothing you need to do to provide your worth, or to prove your worth, rather. Journal what your best day would look and feel like. See it in your mind. We need to feel it before we can receive it. And the mantra that goes with the card is, I am worthy of a life I love. And you are, and there's nothing you need to do to prove your worth. Nothing. You were born worthy. It's time for you to see that for yourself. And the last card we have is mirror. Everyone is a reflection of what you believe about yourself. What you see in another is also within you. This is a call to deepen the connection within. It's really time to take a look at what you feel about yourself. When we see something that triggers us, it is just a call for us to look within and say, why is that bothering me? What is that trigger about? Be very curious with that emotion. Sit with it. It's time to work through it and see, what does that mean for me? Is there something that I can be doing to work through that? You deserve to feel at peace. And if you're not, it's time to decide why am I not? What can I do about that? What is this pointing me to? And lastly, we have intuition. Pay attention to your inner knowing. You have all the answers within you. Trust in the decisions that you make. You are the creator of your destiny. Part of learning to trust yourself has to do with loving yourself. Because if you love yourself, you know that you're never going to betray you. Other people may betray you. We can't always judge someone else's character, but you'll never betray yourself. And learning how to trust your intuition and your judgment is so incredibly important. If you trust yourself and you trust your own intuition, you'll never move in the wrong direction because you know that you're not going to steer yourself there. We always want what's best for ourselves. So when we start trusting that intuition, we're going to find it. Show yourself some kindness this week. Show others kindness. It's so needed. Plus, being kind to others, I don't know, it makes me smile. And you never know who needs it. I already have had so many students who just needed kindness this week. We never know what people are going through, and life isn't always easy. We don't have the same experiences, even though we feel like everyone thinks the same way we do or they grow up the same way we do, they don't. As you would want someone to show you grace, show others grace this week. Let's show the world that kindness still exists and that this is the world we want, not the world we're seeing that's so negative and angry and all the things. That's not the world we want. If we want a better world, we have to start with ourselves. We have to show up. We have to show our light. We have to show others what we want this world to be. And you can do that by starting with yourself, showing yourself kindness, showing others kindness. We can all do that. And that's my challenge to you this week. Be kind to yourself. See the good in yourself. See the good in others. Be the good that you want to see. I hope you guys have an amazing week. If you want to work with me, you can go to my website, melissaoatman.com. The link is also in the show notes. I offer readings, coaching sessions, healing sessions. You can also grab a copy of my book, Beautifully Broken. That is the story of how I moved through divorce and really a shakeup in my whole life and learned how to love myself again so that I could attract better things in my life. And my other book, Beautiful Mourning, A Guide to Life After Loss, is the story of losing my mom and actually several people. I lost quite a few people all at the same time, all within a short amount of time. And it was how I moved through grief and found healing on the other side. And if you are going through that right now or know someone who is, you can grab my books on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Goodreads, or the audiobook version is also on audiobooks.com or on Spotify. I hope you guys have an amazing week. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.